Normally I would do a Simply Stage episode in the evening, but today I decided to get it done midday, so for many of you it might be a welcome lunchtime break. If you're at work, if you're at home, wherever, but as I explained before, there will be no schedule given for episodes. That will literally just be rolling out. This is going to be an investigative episode into the operation, the unauthorized operation Occam's Razor, that started in Traverse City, and then I followed it through to Petoskey, Michigan, over the past year or so, like past 2 years, starting in 2024. It's been incredibly difficult, and I'm really tired. I do my makeup while I talk to all of you. For those of you who are around to watch, obviously evening shows get a little more. People really like evening shows, after work or on the way to work. Maybe it's like drive time for some of you. I have no idea, but this will probably be one of the shorter episodes. I've got to do my makeup though, so I've got some holiday jazz on with the Crackle Fire theme going for Thanksgiving here in the USA, which is coming up next week. I hope many of you have some good solid plans in place for the holiday. I know it can be a really stressful one. Many of you may not. Maybe a lot of you are just staying home and hanging out. I personally decided to gather up a frozen dinner with some turkey because it's just me. And I'm gonna do some vegetables from a canned food aisle. And I've got a fun lineup of desserts going, and that is really all I'm doing this year. I'm keeping it about as simple as it can possibly be. Not worrying about an onion. No. That's all I'm worried about. I've got a big bag of fresh onions right now that I'm enjoying making and cooking. And literally microwaving, and that's the extent of actual cooking I'm doing these days. Like, I'm just not doing. Keeping everything really, really simple. Just give me 1 second. I've got to finish putting on my makeup. Sometimes I feel like doing makeup is like riding a bicycle, and like talking and doing makeup at the same time is just way too much. Hold on a second. I'm gonna go ahead and grab one of these just to kind of get myself pepped up. Oh, hi, Philip. How are you? Watch me do my makeup. Yeah. Ooh, let's get a napkin too. Sorry. So, yes, witty commentary. Oh, Philip Carswell has top fan status. Cool. That's nice. I'm always so flattered when people stop in because I'm not a celebrity of any kind. I'm, not a Hollywood person. For those of you who don't know my background, I'm actually considered to be a forensic scientist, private investigator, have a long extensive background in journalism, and frankly, have been dragged into the middle of more stupid crap that I never like to talk about. I was also a victim of labor trafficking here in the U.S., and I had to dramatically change my own lifestyle and philosophy, and developed my own philosophy and methods for survival, and then developed a network of people internationally that were against labor trafficking, and worked on modern thought processes to help people deal with it, because we live in such a complex, overly difficult world. And part of that was development of the movement of metacritical thinking and philosophy. I found that postmodernism and modernism, especially modernism, because it spent so much time being sad about the loss of the mechanization and development of technology, and the loss in the world wasn't really helpful. And then postmodernism is just modernism on crack, right? So, not going to help you make sense of it, but metacriticalism is totally going to make sense. It's going to make everything make sense for you. And you're going to have to depend on it. And I come at this from the angle of somebody who survived a lot of dumb gang-banging behavior and terrorism, frankly. And I personally feel like an extremely successful person, but there's a lot of people in the C-suite of the U.S., other countries, that literally look to me for answers. And again, I'm a poor person. And somebody who in 2019 got a pre-cancer diagnosis. So I completely changed my entire lifestyle and strategies at that point. I did as much as I could around DC, and Even right now, I'm in a amount of pain after injuries from being up in Traverse City and the western coast of Michigan. So I'm gonna finish my makeup here, and then we're gonna talk about a few things. Um, yeah, but so witty commentary, jazz music. For some of you, this may totally feel like what Thanksgiving is going to be about. No, Darian Johnson High. I don't do modeling. I do like I'm a size 6 to 8, whatever you want to call it, lingerie model on OnlyFans at Deborah K, DEBORAHKY. So you got to go on there for cutesy pictures. Or you can look at one of my old YouTube videos where I do yoga. But I can't do modeling today. I gotta get through my makeup and do this episode, and I'm actually gonna get other stuff done because I'm a woman that works for a living. You know, I have to work unemployment and I have to get my stuff cleaned up and everything together. So, anyways, you guys all got my background. Also, to note, I have a certification in public relations from the University of Virginia. I completed a very rigorous program that took 3 to 4 years to complete and worked the whole time. I had actual employment and jobs during it, and continued to do my laundry and clean my home. So I've done a lot. I'm a very busy person, and I'm very much someone who's self-sufficient and likes to be. Phillips likes stand-up. Okay, guys, from here on out, you're going to be ignored. Cute pictures are on OnlyFans at Deborah K, DEBORAHKAY. Thank you. But so anyways, completed my postgraduate program in communications. And then I went on to work in healthcare and work on investigations for the federal government and also private investigations, doing home health for a Fortune 400 company called Home Instead Senior Care in the Washington, D.C. metropolitan area. I also have the certification of having worked through the national crisis of COVID, the global crisis of COVID pandemic in the Washington, D.C. area, and also in Charlottesville. And took certifications from Johns Hopkins University in COVID. And literally just COVID, period. Dealing with it, studying it, how to try to control it. I am not affiliated with the CDC or the WHO, the World Health Organization. I'm an independent consultant generally. But I work other jobs. Most of the time I get a job in a restaurant. This part of the year, you know, so. This episode will be focusing on communications issues. We're discussing a few different things that need to actually be discussed because it's totally ridiculous. I can't take it. Like, I've been recovering from some of my injuries and felt like I was just watching way too much craziness coming out of Washington, D.C. I have to admit the recent turn of events with the hearings on Epstein have been kind of hilarious starting yesterday. Like, I was actually just laughing. I was literally out doing my laundry and was like laughing my head off because some of this stuff is just too funny. Like Kash Patel, the head of the FBI, talking to Senator Liu, and Senator Liu's like, what? Hold on, because he was asking him, about Donald Trump and the pictures of the little kids and stuff, and it's like, Cash says, well, we don't think those are actually little kids. They look like adults. And Lou says, well, do you think it's possible that they were kids? And he said, that's a really excellent point. They could be kids. Like, Photoshop pictures. Could be people that just look very mature. I actually pieced out of watching the hearings at that point because I could not laughing. Like, it's just too... It's just like you can't write this shit. This is not a show for kids, by the way. So yeah, witty commentary, jazz music in the background, has some fire crackling sounds. For some of you, that may totally summarize exactly what your Thanksgivings are like. I myself went through years of horrible Thanksgiving dinners, which included the people who founded Endeavor Corp, who are just monsters, and Russian FSB. And this was after my mom was murdered by them, and then had to put up with Megyn Kelly coming to the dinners and just being a hag to everyone. She's just horrible. She's just a really ugly, weird person, just a sociopath, psychopath. So yeah, I know some things. I know some things, and I don't drink. I know things. I just know things. Oh, look, the two guys left because they went like cater them being weird. Okay. I don't know why. It always helps to like pull my mouth down when I do mascara because it changes the way my eyelashes hold. It changes the position of them, so it's easier to put mascara on. By the way, some of you will see me later today, and I will look totally different again. I will not be going out of the house looking like I do at the end of the show. Pro tip. Look at Santa Claus Coca-Cola. This is not a commentary on the current AI issues or legislation rolled out on AI issues in the US. As many of you know, I detailed in the past that Coca-Cola and some of their major companies have been bullied into doing ad campaigns that benefited Russian obfuscation and they needed help getting out of them. I did that for them. They were forced to do an Ava Max campaign. You don't even know that is. She's a dumb Nazi. And then I put together the yeah, I did. I put together some legislation for the US government and also wrote a bunch of letters so that they can just get the hell away from it. I don't know why they did an AI ad for Christmas. It doesn't matter to me. Like, I'll always love Coke and Coke products, so. And, you know, Pepsi has some good stuff too, but as many of you know, my mom was a Coca-Cola person and just loved their products. See, like, I still have this little guy for, like, Christmas. He's so cute. So. I think some of the shows are about communications. It's also just about the labor issues and then the bullying of American US-based companies or even international companies by the cartels and the gangs being forced to try to employ them some of the time just to survive. And it's just horrible. And there's so many of us here in the United States that are adequately talented to be employed. And because our own government, and I'm not saying Democrat or Republican is in trouble, I'm saying all of you, you need to remember that that's affected our labor here. And it isn't really okay for the current sitting US president to say they're going to bring in a bunch of new people when this country is full of talented individuals who've been oppressed by gang activity. You actually are under a duty to employ those of us who are actually from the US and incredibly talented. And nobody really trusts him on the Jeffrey Epstein issue because he just doesn't get it on labor. I mean, I'm to the point where I don't even know if I believe all these so-called fake immigrants are being thrown out or illegal immigrants are being thrown out of the country because I keep seeing massive numbers of criminals from El Tende, Nicaragua, and MS-13 just rolling around the streets of this country, free as can be, especially here in Michigan. I mean, you cannot go to a store without some dork from MS-13 or El Tende, Nicaragua rolling through. I was literally in a store yesterday, West Branch, and this poor woman was actually trying to get us checked out. She was a checkout girl, right? Or sales clerk. And this stupid guy dressed up as a woman came in from El Tren de Nicaragua and was harassing me and the other women in the store. And it was a man dressed up as a woman. And the whole thing was just totally offensive and weird. And of course, you know, me, I had to say something about it on the way out. But, you know, it's just not okay. There was like a couple kids with them that he'd been trafficking. And it was just like so gross to see El Tren de Nicaragua like rolling around what's supposed to be a store for those of us who are poor to shop in safely. And threatening us. You know, it was like your daily check-in from the local goon freak fest, right? Like, yeah. If there's anything I enjoy today about my life, it's that, you know, I put in enough time and hard work to not have to just put up with them. And that's the truth for the rest of you. You don't have to put up with these stupid people. You just have to figure out how to manage it. Do some lipstick. Let's see if this looks okay in the mirror. Okay, so current stuff. And some history. Over 10 years ago, in the year 2013, I had some meetings with Pam Bondi. It was projected that Donald Trump would be president, and I told her about the threat from Martin Clammer out of Luther College in Iowa, which is a gang group and a labor trafficking ring that needs to be shut down. It hasn't been yet. It's literally all people from the Russian FSB, Chinese CCP, and El Nicaragua and MS-13. I didn't see El Jalisco there. That was one group that didn't show up there. And of course, El Jalisco didn't even have that name or exist yet. Now, here's the important thing. I gathered a lot of really pertinent evidence and information. One of them was that if she was Carol Leavitt was put in as White House press secretary at this point, there was going to be a hit put out on her. And Pam got really angry at me and said that she was going to make me take the hit. And I just went, no, that's just you plain old threatening to kill me for knowing something. And why are you trying to set up a 10-year out in advance murder of someone who isn't even the White House press secretary yet, but could project and become one in 15 years? Or, 13 years, 12 years, whatever. I mean, we're 12 years out, right? And so I don't like Pam. I don't trust Pam. I don't think any of us should trust Pam. I think this is a time in the country where U.S. citizens just need to really focus on themselves, focus on their own projects, employment, work, doing your laundry, taking care of yourself. But it's important to recognize that she really did try to say that to me and threaten me. And she is of the mindset, or bees of the mindset, I guess you could also say. She is one who is being in her feelings. Okay. No, she is literally someone that, she pulled multiple individuals out on the stages in the spring, the angel moms, and wanted these women to be crying and freaking out to justify her spending and projects. And I haven't seen any results on the ground. So somebody at the White House wants some real reporting, or Department of Justice, or even South Korea or English. We are not seeing results on the ground. We are seeing fights. We are seeing abuse. A lot of us are being harassed and attacked. And we have seen escalating violence even just going to the grocery store or Walmart. Literally daily, even in quieter, less well-populated areas of the U.S. And I'm not here to criticize or blame. I'm just telling you what's actually going on. So I will not be in the Democrats are good or Republicans are good club. I'm in no club at this point with the politicians. I just don't have time for it. I'm literally doing just investigative series to get information out. And what I want to address today, because I'm not going to go on too much longer with this episode, is exactly what I talked about in my teaser for Simply Sage, which is, this is episode 2. Karoline Leavitt recently said to Caitlin Collins of CNN, and I'm detailing this too because Tulsi Gabbard was in Traverse City over the summer, and she tried to set up a bunch of labor trafficking rings and tried to put hoops on a bunch of people and even kids to go back to being trafficked to MS-13. So Tulsi Gabbard is part of MS-13, and so is Caitlin Collins. And Caitlin Collins also is Megyn Kelly. Caitlin Collins is also a woman who is named Rocky back in James, Wisconsin in the 90s, who was guilty of multiple murders and felonies which she has not served time for in prison. She owes prison time to the state of Wisconsin, and she has not served it as of yet. Here's your problem with the White House. You have her coming over there regularly for press conferences, and you're not arresting her. So she continues to remain free, either on the alias of Megyn Kelly, through events with Secretary Hegseth, Department of Defense, right? The guy who literally renamed the Pentagon the Department of War. If you continue to let her show up as Caitlin Collins and you don't make any moves to arrest her and send her back to Wisconsin to serve time, you become culpable for her. You become part of her MS-13 shit. You become responsible for it and can be prosecuted for it. This is actually the same problem the Hollywood industry has had for decades. The reason my father started engaging in the setups, the reason Quincy Jones engaged in the quote-unquote setups, like with J-Lo and some of these other people, and also some of the other setups that Weston Noble put together, was because those guys literally believed that if they put together a setup to identify someone as a KGB officer, CCP, MS-13, or El Nicaragua, or whatever gang, and got them somewhere and positively identified in an event, they could then bring in law enforcement to arrest them and remove them, or send them for due process. Right? Big time criminals, multiple felonies, hundreds of felonies, so far out there that they're nothing but gangsters. So that's the problem that you've got right now at the White House. Now here's another part of it. I was invited multiple times by different administrations to attend the White House press pool and to be a number, just another number reporter there asking questions, right? Like, really given that right. I never went because I saw that there were too many gangs and too many gang members at those conferences. Those conferences, the White House press conferences and the meetings at the Pentagon that are supposed to be open to the press and the public are like 75-80% gangbangers. Like literally a majority of people from the Chinese CCP, Russian FSB, Goon Central, gangbangers, people that have done nothing but try to, want to take over the U.S. media and want it to be run literally for Russian stupid crap. So it wasn't a place I ever wanted to be. And I'm a legitimate investigative writer and journalist, and frankly, someone who doesn't even focus on doing that full time. I have had a career in healthcare, which was destroyed by gang activity in this country. I'm somebody who's more than intelligent enough to have been a medical doctor and wasn't able to practice as one or get through my schooling for it. And I couldn't even do nursing school because of gang activity and organization in this country. So when Donald Trump gets up and throws a temper tantrum and says people don't like him enough, it's like, well, we need real results on that issue. It needs to be literally so that I or another person who is moral and is not a part of a gang or the Chinese CCP or Russian FSB can attend school and be able to get a terminal degree without interference. And that was not possible for me. To get a degree in the sciences, a terminal degree as a nurse or a doctor, or even to be a PA or a medical assistant because of gang activity in this country. That's not to criticize the Republican Party, the Democratic Party, is to tell you what's going on. You bear a burden when you let gangbangers show up, or even members of the Chinese CCP or Russian FSB show up to White House events that have been clearly identified for you, or the Department of Defense, the Pentagon, and you don't do anything to arrest them or censure them. You do. You bear a burden there. I see the hearings going on in Congress, I end up laughing and shutting them off. This is where I've come to. I got about as far as I could with the Epstein stuff yesterday and thought I just can't take it anymore and started laughing and shut it off. I probably won't watch that much more. But I'm going to tell you this. I'm concerned because Karoline has a definite hit out on her from a childhood in Rockwell. And Pam Bondi and the other people that should be support for administration really don't care. This is where I made jokes over the summer about, what you gonna do about the cult of ISIS? You can't mind princess mentality. What are you gonna do? Like, that's how they're treating her. But what concerned me was that she went ahead and told Karoline Collins at a White House press secretary event that there would be journalists coming from on the ground who had been in action over the past year or two, who would be, the cavalry is coming soon to deal with you, Karoline. We're not. I lived in Washington, D.C. here for 19 years. I don't attend White House press secretary events. I don't plan to ever be at any of them. I simply don't have the budget for it or time. And I don't want to be around those people. I don't like them. Goons. Like 75 for 80 cent goons. A lot of you probably are confused about what happened in U.S. journalism. It's been overtaken by gangbangers and stupid people. From the gangs and from the Russian FSB and Chinese CCP. So, honey, I'm just telling you right now, pro tip, number 1, the cavalry isn't coming. 2, this save yourself from them. 3, part of being a consummate communications professional is being able to know the difference between a goon who works for Putin, from MS-13, the Russian FSB, Chinese CCP, or whatever gang, just any gang, or as a drug lord, knowing the difference between that pretending to be a reporter, because Karoline Collins is from MS-13, and not a legitimate source of information. Or maybe what you would really say is anything you collect from that one is literally going to be the opinion of MS-13. And knowing the difference between a gang, goon, banger, or whatever idiot, Russian FSB comms officer, versus the person who literally was sent over there as a junior reporter, who was given a question by their boss, who didn't bother to research it or even look into what they were telling them to say. And literally their job was just to go over there and perfunctorily check in, because that's what their news bureau wants them to do, was have somebody go and ask a question and then leave, because that's the safest thing for them to do. And so your overall approach of literally just telling everyone they're stupid, while I would say it's fairly intelligent considering you can't tell the difference between the two, is also fairly dangerous because it risks you alienating a number of people at the White House press pool, like that 25% that are just legitimate reporters. and versus the other 75% that are goons. By the way, I also knew Francesca Chambers when I was down in Washington, D.C. She has really narcissistic personality disorder and also works for the FSB. So that's another one to avoid. I don't know of any crimes she's committed that you could take her down on. I'm sure somebody else could. But these events were never put together to be anything other than a place to trap and capture these people. It wasn't so the law enforcement could actually go ahead and take them off to whatever court they're supposed to be in for their felonies, not misdemeanors, but actual like hundreds of felonies. And I just want you to completely understand that you've really got to get to the point as a secretary of being able to know the difference between how you're going to treat the goons and how you're going to treat that 25% that are literally just over there to check a box and ask a question because they have to. Because you're running the risk of them painting you as someone who's just like, I can't take it. I can't watch the coverage. The way she's handling these people is just terrible because she doesn't know the difference between the two. And that was actually a core point of my education at UVA, which is an Ivy League school and program I developed my philosophy and comms from them, and I graduated at the top of the program. So anyways, this has been, and what I want to note too, this has been nothing but a reminder of all that to review for you. Martin Clymer showed up in Charlevoix and made the sign come August that he was planning to go ahead with trying to kill her. So I don't know why. I only know that he's in the stupid cult of ISIS crap with Alexandria Aragua and the Russian FSB, and they just decided to target her as somebody to kill. As many of you have seen, Charlie Kirk died. And I already did an episode on that, so I'm not going to repeat all that again. But that's what's up. That's what's up these days. So I will continue making Simply Stated and doing my reports, but no, I don't, neither I nor anyone else who's seen all this stuff go down live is going to be wasting more time of our lives to come back down to Washington, D.C., and certainly not to hang out at the White House press pool. So, yeah, that's about it. It's going to be 20 million rounds of Women Save Yourself. Have a good one, people. This has been another edition of Simply Stated, Episode 2, Season 4 on Occam's Razor. Thank you.